Hey everyone, Moovieboy here. Look, it happens to everyone. No matter how carefully you plan, sooner or later you will have an actor or a model or just a family in front of a backdrop, whether it's made out of paper or brick or curtain. That person is going to move just outside of the frame and you're going to follow through and capture the action because that's what you do. But now suddenly you've got a photo where part of the backdrop stops before it makes the whole frame. So, have no fear, because I'm going to show you how to get that backdrop back in Photoshop.
Movie boy! Dun, dun, dun.
This is the backdrop that we were using, and unfortunately, we noticed it was had a large tear on the side. But we decided to go through with the shoot anyway, knowing that in Photoshop I could still make it work. So this is the shot I want to focus on. As you can see, we are well outside of the backdrop in several places. Her foot is sticking out, the fabric has flown gracefully away, but is way out of the shot. So we need to fix this up. Just so you can see, we went from here to here, from here to here, from here to here. Better one, better two, better one, better two. Now we need to show you how we're going to do that. So we're going to take this image here and we're going to open it up into Photoshop. Photoshop we go. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on, I'm going to break this up in a couple ways here because we have our foreground, her in the fabric, and we have the background that's supposed to be the gray paper. First thing I'm going to do on the foreground is I'm going to get to the quick selection tool, and we are going to quickly select. Select her, select the fabric, select her, select the fabric. That's what we're gonna do today. Look at this. We have her and we have the fabric selected. So let's go down to modify. Let's expand that by a good 10 pixels there, just so that we don't have any little bits that may peek out, like over here. Look at that. Meh. So I'm going to take the lasso tool, hold down the Alt option to get rid of that. And then we're going to go down here to create the layer mask, and boom, she's out. And for some reason, so is this. So we're going to just fix that. To make things a little easier here, I'm going to repeat this and make this my background. We're going to take the layer mask and we're going to invert it, and look at that. Now we have the backdrop without her in there. We want to get rid of this whole area here, and we want to get rid of this. And we want to fix that tear. And you know, while we're at it, we want to fix the parts of the floor that don't stick out either. A while back, under the fill pop-up window, you get all kinds of choices. Foreground, background, we're used to, color, but this one right here, content aware. It's the idea that Photoshop will say, okay, I want to fill this in, but to be content aware, it means it's to look at the rest of the image and go, oh, you want me to fill in with this kind of stuff here. I've seen some of the first tutorials that came out and a couple of the images when they were teasing this new technology, and it would usually be someone laying upon grass and suddenly you could remove the person from the grass altogether, and I'm thinking, wow, amazing. So I'm going to hit OK and let's see what happens. It actually did better than I thought. It did a lot better than I thought it was going to. Darn it! Because I was going to show how sometimes this can really backfire. Well, let's see. Let's see if we can undo. And let's see what happens when we do this. We go down to fill. We choose content aware. Aha! And here is an example of what can go wrong. Now you would think that Photoshop would just know that, hey, this part here kind of stops in this region. It doesn't go up anywhere else, so why do this? And it's because Photoshop is only as smart as what you are telling it. If it can refer to any other pixels, it will look at those as well and say, well, this seems to kind of work. How's this look? And as you can see, that's totally incorrect. If we do not have her removed, here's the issue we walk into. Alright, so we want the background to roughly there. Don't necessarily need it here. We go down to Edit, Fill, Content Aware, and we're going to end up probably with some messed up stuff. Well, that's messed up. But as you can see, it will take everything in the image and try and incorporate it. It tries to come up with some kind of logic as to how to extend it and fill in the blanks. Well, it doesn't really know the difference between human and backdrop, so it treated it all the same, and we've got something like more like Dolly right now. So this is why the first thing you have to do, let's undo this. The first thing you have to do is you have to paint out the person you want to preserve. The best way of all is to not only get rid of the foreground that you don't want caught up in the reproducing your backdrop, but get rid of everything you don't want. So I know this part of the floor, and maybe a little bit more here. This also needs to go. So I'm going to add this to the layer mask, make sure the layer mask is selected, and I'm going to hit Option Delete. And that will just fill that in with more black. It's all still there. Now, because it doesn't have the fabric to read from, it doesn't have our dancer to work from, it doesn't have the floor, because now I've told all of the floor it can see to only refer to what's left, which is just gray paper backdrop. So we go down to Fill, Content Aware, and this should all be just gray when it's done. Bada bing. Look at that. Oh, and actually, how about this? Just in case you want to do more back here. Now let's bring her back in. And we see it actually did do it through the mask. Unlike other tools that won't apply to all the pixels, it did to all that was selected. So we can use this layer up here. I'm going to just hold down the Command key and tap on it here to bring this selection up here. And as you can see, it's already expanded out, but I'm going to expand it out a little bit more. So let's go down to Select, let's modify it, let's expand another 10 pixels. Now I'm going to fill in look at that, like she wasn't even there. So now we can end up doing more, and if you want to move this into motion graphics, now you've got a clean background plate and you've got her. So another thing to think about for special effects artists is that oftentimes you don't have a perfect clean background. Well, now you've got a way to at least build one. And so now, I mean, what I ended up doing in these is that I applied a hue and saturation, I put it to colorize, and let's move over here. And as you can see, let's see, I think in the original one I just did a very slight blue, and then as you can see, that helps kind of unify the whole shot there. And then I just worked on different blending methods to bring things down, but that is essentially how I got my final photo in the first place. So that is how we were able to go from a shot that was in bad need of repair and able to bring her in. Thank you as always. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Stick around because we got more videos coming out every Friday. So until then, thank you and come again.